Tonight on CTV News, Eleanor Sturko not pulling any punches.
Think about who you want to lead this party into the next election.
The high-profile MLA takes aim at the man who kicked her out of the Conservative caucus. Will others leave the party?
We've been notified that if we don't leave the property this morning willingly, that we will be arrested and removed from our own private property.
Two owners of an ostrich farm arrested as the CFIA prepares to cull the flock.
Given the fact that there is no other further de-escalation technique, kind of concerns me.
Concerns about how police fatally shot a Surrey teen with autism. A grieving family's search for answers. A CTV investigation.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A heavy police presence remains at an ostrich farm where owners are fighting to keep their flock alive. Police arrested two of the co-owners today when they refused to leave an enclosure. The arrest fueling an already emotionally charged showdown. CTV's Shannon Patterson reports.
You know this is wrong. You know this is wrong.
Supporters of this family-run ostrich farm shouted at RCMP officers stationed at the property in the West Kootenays as the Canadian Food Inspection Agency prepares to cull the flock 9 months after an outbreak of avian flu.
They're not listening to us. We've been trying for 9 months of clear communication of that these animals are healthy. Can we test them? That is it. Can we test them for virus? And that's been denied.
On Tuesday, the family that owns the farm refused to comply with an order to stay out of the animal's pen.
We've been notified that if we don't leave the property this morning willingly, that we will be arrested and removed from our own private property. And all we've asked for is to feed our own animals today.
Ultimately, Katie Pasitny and her mother were arrested for entering the pen to feed the ostriches.
We got through to the back pen and they came flying up and told us to get out. We were under arrest.
They returned to greet supporters hours later, told they can't enter the ostriches' quarantine zone.
So we're not allowed to go over there, and and then we have a court date. And that court date that will decide if Canadian Food Inspection Agency wants to charge us.
They can't sleep. They're stressed. It's disgusting. It's like domestic terrorism from the government to the public, to the citizens. They are being terrorized, and they are good, wholesome people, and they don't deserve it.
The family has filed for an emergency stay from the Supreme Court to stop the cull, which the CFIA has deemed necessary because the ostriches could still spread a unique and more lethal strain of avian flu.
Legal filings are in, and now we just keep pumping up that public opinion like we have.
Supporters from across Canada have converged on the farm, vowing to stay as the standoff continues. Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
More public service workers walked off the job today in BC while saying the government is refusing to negotiate. Workers at additional sites across the province took to the picket lines, including at the Transportation Management Centre in Coquitlam. The BC General Employees Union already escalated job action to liquor and cannabis warehouses this week, as well as key ministry locations. In total, nearly 13,000 workers are engaged in job action across 63 sites across BC, including 33 active picket lines. The BC GEU says further job action is expected throughout the week. Turning now to a dramatic fracture in the BC Conservative Party. Outspoken MLA Eleanor Sturko says she was blindsided when John Rustad kicked her out of caucus yesterday. Now there are questions about whether others have confidence in their leader. CTV's Rob Buffum reports.
Eleanor Sturko enters her new digs as an independent after getting kicked out of the Conservative caucus.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
The bombshell happened just before a tense caucus meeting Monday to address Rustad's leadership and the results of a review where he won 70% support, but faces ongoing questions about inappropriate party membership sign-ups. Sturko says she's not sure what the future holds for her, including whether she'd form a new party.
If I had a crystal ball, then I would know.
She says she's encouraging her now former colleagues to boot John Rustad out as leader.
Think about who you want to lead this party into the next election and do what you need to do to make sure that the party has the strongest possible leadership.
Former colleagues generally towing the party line. Trevor Halford says Sturco is his friend, but he supports Rustad as leader.
British Columbians are really depending on us to have a strong voice in there and making sure we're holding this government to account.
But below the surface, it's not all smooth sailing. One caucus member told me today that as many as 9 MLAs would like to see Rustad step down. 2 spoke out at last night's meeting, and they themselves are seriously considering leaving the party.
Hard to say with regards to what's happened. I mean, Eleanor Sturco, by her own admission, was going out and trying to recruit people to try to force me to resign.
The tensions, shades of those experienced by the BC United and its leader Kevin Falcon, trying to keep a centre-right party intact.
The vehicle that carries the right has to be a coalition of some sort. That coalition is fractious. They don't necessarily get along.
This was Sturco last June when she left BC United for the Conservatives.
If you are the leader of a coalition, you have one job. And that job is to bring people together and keep people together. And Kevin Falcon failed at that job.
Fast forward to today.
I joined this party to help unite the right. That was the idea. But under John Rustad's leadership, the right is more splintered than it's ever been.
Having survived a leadership review, Rustad hopes her words aren't prophetic.
Rob joins us live from Victoria. And Rob, what is Eleanor Sturco saying about the possibility of joining the NDP?
Well, good question, Mi Jung. I did reach out to the NDP as a starting point, and on behalf of the Premier's office, they said no overture has been made, nor has one been made on behalf of the NDP caucus. But when I put to Sturco what her future options are, she said she'd ruled out the idea with no hesitation of joining Dallas Brody's right-of-centre party. She says she would be open to rejoining the Conservatives with a different leader, or the idea of forming a new party is also on the table. But when it comes to the NDP, she repeatedly talked about the need to defeat them, yet at the same time, she didn't say never, and she left our conversation saying that she has an open heart and an open mind. So this vociferous critic of the NDP, I guess you never know in this wild world of BC politics. Mi Jung.
That is true. We'll watch and see what happens. Thank you, Rob. The union representing education assistants in Surrey schools is sounding the alarm on the need to fill positions. It comes after the Surrey School Board announced a $33 million surplus last week. As CTV's Yasmin Gandam reports, there is confusion as to why the money is not being used.
Marcy Campbell is an education assistant, or EA, in Surrey. She says the current situation couldn't be worse for both students and educators.
It feels like we're triaging everything. I've been an EA for 19 years, and it's completely different from when I started.
Campbell says it's gotten to the point where some kids aren't even able to come to school.
We have students across the district that still aren't able to come full-time because there isn't that support.
The union representing Campbell and other support workers in the district is calling on more EAs. CTV News previously reported 50 positions were cut last year due to budget shortfalls.
Kids are going without supports. I think that we're past the rainy day. I think we're in the middle of a rainstorm, and I think that we need the support.
The Surrey School Board has announced a $33 million surplus from the last school year. $21 million of the funds will be for upgrades to computer systems, and the remaining 12 will be set aside as the district grapples with lower enrollment.
So some of that 12 million will definitely go towards that. So once you deduct all that, there's really not a lot left.
The district says the surplus can't be used to bring back cut programs, as the money would quickly run out.
So we haven't actually cut per se, we're just not replacing the first 50.
So it's not one student that's going without, it's not 50 students because we've lost 50 IESWs or EAs. It's hundreds of students.
It's a concern for teachers as well, with more frontline support needed and a grim outlook just weeks into the school year.
What's most helpful for teachers is to have another person in the classroom who can kind of check in with the kids who are having trouble keeping up.
Without more positions, though, she says all students will be impacted, not just those with special needs.
The front lines of the education system, teachers, are really exhausted.
Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Surrey.
Also tonight, high-risk sex offender Randall Hopley once again released from custody and living in Vancouver. The warning from police in the debate over the merits of our judicial system. That's just ahead. But first, time for a quick look outside on this first full day of fall. And Anne is here with our look at the forecast. The golden hour, of course, getting earlier and earlier.
I know. But yeah, a beautiful day today. It still feels like summer. Summer's still holding on, although we are fully entrenched in fall right now. Here's a look at temperatures across the lower mainland. Not too bad at all. A 19 at the harbor. You're looking at 21 degrees in North Vancouver, 22 in Burnaby, as well as in Pitt Meadows, 24 degrees in Surrey, and 25 right now in Chilliwack. So as we head through the overnight, it'll be clear, it'll be calm. We will start to see patchy fog develop through the overnight hours, dropping down to 13. That's how we'll start off the day tomorrow, but we'll see sunny skies once again. 18 degrees near the water, 24 degrees further inland.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next vacation by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
And we are tracking some rainfall in our full forecast. Those details coming up.
As much as we like the sunshine, we do need rain too.
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Anne. Well, it looks like fall may be warmer than normal on the south coast. It has been a warm, dry September so far, with temperatures mostly above seasonal and rainfall below normal. With a rainfall deficit building, Environment Canada warns that parched ground may struggle to absorb sudden downpours, raising the risk of localized flooding.
So the precipitation that comes, if it comes all at once too quickly, yes, that can have an effect, can exacerbate flooding if it comes too quickly.
A mild La Nina and warm Pacific waters could mean a wetter, milder fall for southern BC. Advocates are raising concerns after the release of a high-risk sex offender. As we reported last night, Randall Hopley is now living in Vancouver, leading to a public warning from police. And as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, along with concerns, there's debate over the merits of the judicial system.
Randall Hopley's criminal history dates back to 1985. The 60-year-old has been convicted of sexual assault, property offenses, and child abduction. While the list of offenses is lengthy, so too is his tendency for breaching court-ordered conditions.
A pattern of behavior that he doesn't want to be held accountable. He isn't going to follow the rules.
2 years ago, Hopley cut off his ankle monitor, took off from his halfway house, and sent police on a 10-day manhunt. In May, only hours after being granted statutory release, he left his halfway house. Police rearrested him shortly after, prompting this response from the Premier.
The last time Mr. Hopley was released, he terrified a family and the entire province. I can't fathom how he would be released again.
That same month, he was sent to a medium security institution. Now he's been released from custody and living in Vancouver. The VPD issuing a warning, saying Hopley poses a high risk to reoffend and a high risk to the public.
You know, the system is, quite frankly, gambling with the lives of women and children.
One criminal defense lawyer says it's unusual for people to breach their conditions, and that the judicial system is working as it should.
I think the balance between protecting the rights of the public and protecting the rights of the individual against, unfair treatment, the balance is usually struck properly. And I think if anybody wants to actually just look at the statistics for crime generally, you'll see that the trend is basically either flat or it's been going down for the last 20 years.
Hopley is under strict conditions, including a curfew and banned from being near children under the age of 16. The Parole Board of Canada says though Hopley has taken part in a number of correctional programs to help him reduce his risk, few gains have been made, adding he requires close supervision. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
A new Westminster grandmother who fell victim to a distraction theft is speaking out about the distressing crime. What they took is priceless. Also ahead.
Chase was non-aggressively walking away from the RCMP. There was no de-escalation.
Troubling questions about the fatal police shooting of a Surrey boy with autism. Experts weigh in on the use of force when CTV News continues. Stay with us. a news tip, video, or photos of breaking news from your screen to ours. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Email us at vantips@ctv.ca or text 10400. More than 7 months after a Surrey teen with autism was fatally shot by police, there are still many unanswered questions. Now experts are weighing in on whether lethal force was the only option and why the police watchdog's probe is taking so long. CTV's Reagan Hasegawa has part 2 of our investigation into this heartbreaking case. And a warning, this story contains disturbing content.
Chase didn't pass away instantly like we had thought. We could hear him on the ground, and he was moaning.
Crystal de Ballenhard has watched the final moments of her son's life over and over. After 7 months and no report from the IIO, it's the only way she's been able to get answers.
All I know is that from what I saw on the video surveillance that I was given was Chase was non-aggressively walking away from the RCMP. There was no de-escalation.
Former Solicitor General and West Vancouver Police Chief Cash Heed has reviewed the video several times.
Given the fact that there is no other further de-escalation technique, kind of concerns me because I'm not sure the officers were in immediate danger that they had to utilize that level of force. But that's all within their own judgment.
RCMP say the initial call was for a person in distress with a firearm. Chase's family later confirmed he was carrying an unloaded pellet gun.
The officers in my review of this several times are protected. They're behind the vehicle.
Heed says their positioning gave the officers more options to de-escalate.
There is adequate protection for them, and I think that would have possibly given them an opportunity to utilize something else besides just yelling at the individual that you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this.
But this video is less than 1 minute of what RCMP says was an extensive 40-minute long interaction.
Video is taken from a certain angle as well. It's not taken from the angle or the proximity of the officers. Just that small little point could make a difference in how it would be assessed.
This retired major crimes investigator says the IIO's report into the officers' actions will be extensive.
That starts before the actual call took place. They're going to, for instance, want to know the training.
Last year, it took the IIO an average of 52 days to conclude an investigation. Chase's case has taken more than 4 times that so far. It's not yet known if the officers suspected they were interacting with someone on the autism spectrum.
Research has shown that the words from a dispatcher could prime or set the stage for what the officer believes they're walking into. And then that could affect them if something happens very early in the call.
This retired police officer with nearly 30 years of experience teaches use of force at the Justice Institute of BC.
You can't train for all the inevitabilities of using force on the street. It's impossible. There's too many. That's why police officers are just ordinary people doing an extraordinary job.
He's in the midst of a tour around the world to learn the best practices of other policing agencies.
I see that what we're doing at the Justice Institute of British Columbia, we're pretty far ahead of the curve.
All BC police officers are required to take crisis intervention and de-escalation training every 3 years. Arsenault says policing is constantly evolving to meet the needs of the community.
If the officers were maybe possibly better trained, maybe they recognized that this kid's on the spectrum, and maybe the outcome would have been different.
Witnesses to Chase's death question whether lethal use of force was necessary.
Why was he shot and shot to kill? This was a kid.
You shoot to stop the threats, generally the torso. Because it's the largest target on the body, and it's the least mobile.
Heed says there were other tools worthy of being considered.
We've seen the use of Arwen guns, which is a rubberized 37 millimeter bullet. We've seen beanbag shotguns that have been utilized with people that have weapons.
But Arsenault says challenging a lethal weapon with a non-lethal one is risky.
That's why you have to have lethal overwatch. So if, okay, I'm going to try something less, and if it doesn't work, then my partner's going to take him out. That's worth a try. It saved a lot of lives doing that.
But until the IIO investigation is complete, the de Balinhard family is only left with pieces of a very complex puzzle. Reagan Hasegawa, CTV News, Surrey.
Chase's death has sparked questions about whether the policies our institutions put in place are meeting the needs of people with disabilities. But as our investigation will reveal tomorrow, incidents involving neurodivergent people are not explicitly tracked. So the scope of the problem isn't even known. That is tomorrow on CTV News at 6. A Vancouver couple moving across the country say they were victims to a moving scam. They say the company suddenly charged them thousands more. Also ahead.
My mother gave it to me. It was a beautiful 18-karat necklace.
A New Westminster woman is devastated after thieves stole a priceless family heirloom from her in broad daylight at a bus stop. How they did it, coming up. A New Westminster grandmother has a warning for other seniors after someone robbed her of a priceless family heirloom in a distraction theft. As CTV's Ben Milger reports, the thief quickly stole the woman's necklace in broad daylight while the woman waited for a bus.
That necklace is very old, 18-karat gold.
After receiving it as a gift from her mother, Mary Newman proudly wore this precious heirloom for decades.
I was going to pass it to my daughter. She can give it to my granddaughter, you know.
A thief stole that dream when they took the necklace right off Newman's neck. The distraction theft happened in broad daylight in New Westminster's Uptown neighborhood. After a day of shopping, Newman sat waiting for a bus to go home. That's when a stranger approached, getting in her personal space and offering to put a necklace on her.
I said, I don't want it. She said, no, I want to put it on. She put it in my neck.
Despite Newman's objections, the woman did it anyway.
After she gave me another big one, I have a picture in my phone, and suddenly she disappeared. She disappeared. The lady said, where's your necklace? Where's your necklace? I touched it, my necklace wasn't there.
Instead, Newman had worthless costume jewelry around her neck. She reported the theft to New Westminster Police and says she's speaking out because she's worried other vulnerable seniors in the neighborhood could also be targeted. Police tell CTV News distraction thefts are becoming more common.
Be careful who you let into your personal space. If someone you've never met wants to hug you, if they want to offer you a gift, just be mindful of that. If something doesn't feel right, just trust your gut. Remove yourself, call us, or walk away.
Newman is not confident police will be able to track down the thief and recover her necklace. But she has a new one, not from her mother, but from a friend who saw how sad she was.
She said, Mary, I know you don't accept anything, but please, we are a best friend. I can give it. She gave me my neighbor, and she's my best friend. Every day we go out together. She gave me that gold necklace.
She'll be much more cautious when wearing this one. Ben Milger, CTV News, New Westminster.
I miss her.
A cross-country move turned into a nightmare for one couple after they say they fell victim to a moving scam. Alex Fox and Max Hill say the company they hired to help them move from Vancouver to St. John's over the summer jacked up the weight of their belongings and the price of service after the boxes were moved as far as Ontario. But the couple weighed every box themselves and knew the company's quote was off. They refused to pay the extra $3,000 charge, instead hiring a lawyer and different movers to rescue their belongings.
We ended up paying double, and it was a lot of work and effort and saving and intentionality to even save the amount of money we had.
Their lawyer says moving scams are slowly on the rise, in part because police say these cases aren't criminal but fall within the scope of civil law. The couple believes one of the only reasons they were able to get their stuff back was because they made extensive notes on the boxes they packed, what was in them, and how much they weighed. How much AI are people using in the workforce, even though not many really know how to use it? Also ahead.
TikTok collects vast amounts of personal information about its users, including children.
Troubling findings from Canada's privacy watchdog about a social media giant that claims their platform isn't for children. Ahead.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Vancouver, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
A new survey is shedding light on how British Columbians are using artificial intelligence at work. Many have started using the technology, but only a fraction say they know how to use it properly or have received any training. CTV's Ben Nesbitt reports.
As artificial intelligence becomes more common in the workplace, experts warn proper knowledge and ethical use are critical. But a new survey shows many are still falling short.
There are just a lot of folks who are kind of playing with technology they don't necessarily have the training for or understand.
Sarah Stockdale is the CEO of Grow Class, which, along with the Angus Reid Institute, found 39% of BC respondents reported using AI tools at work, but only 11% had received formal training.
If folks aren't given guardrails and training and an understanding of how the tools are trained and what ethical use looks like for that company, things could go off the rails.
The Vancouver Board of Trade says the province is falling behind other parts of the country and that small and medium-sized businesses need more support to keep up.
When we look at the kind of need there is for AI, SMEs are the ones that need the most support, which makes sense because they have the limited resources. But if we could adopt AI, what it could mean is an 8% boost in productivity.
Stockdale says to get there, companies need to be equipped first.
Employers actually have to be trained themselves. They have to understand the tools and they have to understand the capabilities of them so they can set guardrails for their teams, both around their values and also around potential security risks.
And with small businesses making up most of BC's economy, supporting them could be key to the province's future productivity. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
Canadian privacy authorities say TikTok's efforts to block children and protect their personal information are inadequate.
TikTok collects vast amounts of personal information about its users, including children. This data is being used to target the content and ads that users see, which can have harmful impacts, particularly on youth.
A joint federal-provincial investigation found TikTok has been collecting personal data from hundreds of thousands of Canadian children, despite claiming its platform isn't for users under age 13. TikTok has agreed to improve privacy messaging and strengthen age restrictions amid global concerns over data security and China's influence. A dog in Alberta is being recognized nationally for saving the life of his owner, who was suddenly confronted by a grizzly bear. Also ahead. Their excitement is infectious. It's Vancouver Island's annual Golden Retriever Roundup. Which pups had the advantage in the pool? Straight ahead on CTV News at 6. At today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 72 cents to the American dollar. Oil gained more than $1, closing at $63.41 US a barrel. Gold was up more than $40 on the day. The TSX and the Dow Jones both ended the day lower, down 143 points and 88 points, respectively. Ottawa has announced it is dropping a pair of legal challenges it launched over the United States decision to slap duties on Canadian softwood lumber. Global Affairs says it made the move in the interest of securing a long-term deal on softwood lumber with the U.S. It says the government still believes American anti-dumping duties are unfair, and it is pursuing 6 other legal challenges. The U.S. Commerce Department announced plans last month to raise duties on Canadian softwood lumber to more than 20%. Washington claims Canada is flooding the market with cheaper, subsidized products. A dog walking company in Nanaimo is making a splash after putting a twist on an annual tradition. 14 dogs took part in the 14th annual Golden Retriever Roundup today. But instead of going to the Nanaimo River as usual, these canines got a massive pool all to themselves. About half of the retrievers have used the pool before for dock diving training. While that gave some the upper hand at fetching balls, it's safe to say all the dogs had a blast.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, they look like they're having so much fun doing the dog paddle.
Yeah, we need something like that in Vancouver.
Yes.
End of season pool for dogs.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember them going to the Nanaimo River, but they look like they're having fun in the pool too.
I think they'd have fun no matter where there was water for them, for sure. And yes, end of summer, but it sure feels like it out there. The hot spot across the country today was Lytton at 31.3 degrees, as close but not close to the record set back in 1947 at 31.7 degrees. So we still have this ridge of high pressure for the south coast and southern interior, keeping us clear and warm as we head into tomorrow. Our front moving its way through, bringing in some wet weather to start off the day for the central interior, as well as parts of the north coast. So here's a look at our storm tracker tonight. We will see some light rain for the north coast into tomorrow morning to start off your early morning commute. It does dry up and clear up, but then the next wave of wet weather moves its way back in tomorrow night, bringing in more substantial rain throughout the day on Thursday. You'll see clear and calm, beautiful summer-like conditions once again for the southern interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Mostly sunny skies for Port Hardy at 16 degrees tomorrow. Same story for Campbell River and Comox, warming up to 20 degrees. For the South Island, a mix of sun and cloud for Tofino at 19. Early morning showers for Port Alberni, clears up nicely, warming up to 23 degrees. From Nanaimo right down to Victoria, you're looking at the blue skies and sunshine with temperatures between 18 and 22. 19 degrees for the Sunshine Coast with a few clouds. Warmer and clearer up the Sea to Sky Highway. 23s for Whistler and Squamish. And for us across the Lower Mainland, we're going to see sunny skies once again. 19 degrees near the water, 24 degrees further inland. Heading into Thursday, we'll start off cloudy. It does clear up. A cool 16 degrees. It does cloud over on Friday with some sunny breaks. And then the weekend looks like this. A mix of sun and cloud for Saturday. Showers return in the afternoon for Sunday into Monday morning. Clears out of the way, and then heading into Tuesday, looks like the rain returns. It'll be pretty soggy with a high of 17. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So the next few days kicking off, heading into the weekend, not too bad at all, and then much needed rain returns.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like summer if Lytton's getting 31 degrees.
Exactly.
Incredible.
Not fall quite yet, even though it is.
Yeah, but I think people are pretty happy with the forecast.
For sure.
Okay, thanks, Anne. A dog from the Calgary area is being hailed as a hero after saving his owner from a grizzly bear attack. CTV's Mark Villani has more on the terrifying encounter and heroic act that landed the Doberman in the Animal Hall of Fame.
Craig Campbell and his dog Knights are inseparable, but in May of 2024, that almost changed in the shock of their lives.
And I said to myself, I'm about to die.
Campbell was hiking along this trail northwest of Cochrane, a quiet wooded area bordered by nearby farms, when suddenly he came face to face with a grizzly sow and its 2 cubs.
She came racing out of the bush at full speed. Everything was silent, really, except for the huffing of the bear, which was so loud.
Struggling to reach his bear spray, Campbell's 10-year-old Doberman sprang into action, leaping in front of the animal that stood more than 2 meters tall on its back legs.
Giving me time to get my bear spray out. At which point I said to myself over and over, I'm going to live, I'm going to live, I'm going to live.
The bear dropped down from its legs and returned to its cubs. The life-saving act of heroism now being recognized nationally. Knight was inducted into the Purina Animal Hall of Fame.
Pets are not just pets, they are family members. And they do these beautiful, courageous, heroic acts.
Despite the honor, there are lessons to be learned about interactions between bears and unleashed dogs.
It generally leads to a negative encounter, not a positive one.
It's why wildlife educators encourage hikers to travel in groups and keep pets close.
And that way you've got the person who has the dog, they can keep a hold of them, keep control of them, while the other people are there able to get out their bear spray, prepared to do what they've got to do to try to get out of the situation.
But Campbell says he's grateful to be alive, now living the quiet life on Prince Edward Island with Knight. Still, he's crediting years of dog training and an unbreakable bond with man's best friend. Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
It's back, the fan favorite voting contest that pits big fat bears against one another in a pre-hibernation weight gain competition. Plus, Giselle's signs. Adam finds out how an Esquimalt woman is striving to inspire her community by posting positivity. Next on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's a preview of your morning, Vancouver.
John Rustad survived, but Eleanor Sturco didn't. Wednesday on Your Morning Vancouver, what's next for the BC Conservative Party as it undergoes a shakeup? Also, advice for small businesses, the investment options companies can use to get ahead. And thinking about a home renovation, some planning and design suggestions to make the process go smoothly. We'll see you in the morning.
Major League Baseball will be making some big changes next season in an attempt to make situations like these less frequent.
2-2. You have got to be kidding me. What in the world?
The MLB confirmed today it's bringing the automated ball strike challenge system to the big leagues in 2026. Teams will have 2 challenges per game where the batter, catcher, or pitcher can challenge a called ball or strike. Using technology to determine balls and strikes has been tested in the minor leagues since 2019. 2,358 baseball fans took part in a world record-setting game of catch to honor famous Yankees catcher Yogi Berra. The event was called Yogi's Big Catch and was part of several celebrations for what would have been Berra's 100th birthday. Organizers said there were only 2 rules: no rolling the ball and no looking at your phones. 2 charitable organizations with a long history of supporting BC communities are donating $20,000 to Canuck Place Children's Hospice.
This means the world to Canuck Place. We serve over 946 children and families on our program. And to have this type of gift from community leaders like the Rebeccas and the Oddfellows truly is a gift.
The donation comes from the Oddfellow and Rebecca's fraternal groups dedicated to promoting friendship, truth, and love through charitable acts. It was presented at Canuck Place Children's Hospice in Abbotsford and will help the foundation continue providing comfort and care to children and families when they need it most. We have an update now on a talented BC drummer who plays some of the most complicated sets with one arm. Jack Thomas, who became an amputee after a workplace accident, is taking his motivational story to students around the world. Here's Sinjan Alexander.
Inspired by his own heroes to get back behind a kit and master the drums once again, he did. Now Jack Thomas is not only wowing the students at his old high school, but motivating them too.
Imagine, instead of being where you are right now, you're sitting in a hospital bed with a missing arm.
That was back in 2015, when 4 days before he was supposed to start grade 12, his arm was torn off in a conveyor belt at work.
It was exactly 1 month and 2 days after my accident. I was back in this room in these hallways, running amok.
Now, he's not saying it was easy, because it wasn't. But no matter how terrible it was at first, he was determined he would learn to play again.
Doesn't feel like I'm a one-armed person anymore when I drum.
Now he travels the world, sometimes virtually, sharing his story at schools, including Terry Fox Secondary.
Terry Fox has always been an idol. He's the first amputee I ever knew of, and so, of course, after my accident, I couldn't help but think to myself, obviously Terry did it, I can keep going too.
And he did, even competing on Canada's Got Talent, sending the crowd and judges to their feet.
He's got 4 yeses and he's going.
I don't need to be phenomenal at this. I don't need to be the best, because I feel like I'm enjoying myself.
A musician, audio engineer, motivational speaker telling others what he truly believes. Yes, it is possible. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Wow.
Amazing. What an inspiration. And it's great that, you know, here's a young man talking to other young kids.
yeah.
Kids can relate more to that.
And I think he was playing Rush, too, which is a really hard song. Like, some of the best, toughest songs in the world to play.
Oh, yeah, he sounded
for-
fabulous.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you guys like eating and sleeping?
Yes and yes.
Okay, well, the start of fall means bears are bulking up to prepare for hibernation, and a competition celebrating those gains is back. Here's a look at some of the contestants for Alaska's annual Fat Bear Week. The competition works like a sports bracket. Each day, bears will face off one-on-one, and the winner moves on to the next round. From now until Friday, fans can go online and vote for the bear with the biggest gains based on before and after photos. The reigning champ of the past 2 years is bear number 128, Grazer.
I believe in Grazer this year, too. I think he can do it.
Grazing 24/7 to gain that much weight. What a life they have, though.
Man.
Huh? Just bulking up and then resting. Sounds not too bad. Okay, Kevin, what's coming up tonight on the Late News?
Well, Jung, a few months back, it was announced Vancouver's city manager Paul Mokry was leaving the role. Mayor Ken Sim calling it a mutual decision at the time, but now we're learning about Mokry's golden parachute. We'll have more on how much his severance package could cost taxpayers. Plus, a crew with North Shore Rescue recently helped save a stranded mountain biker on Vancouver Island. They used a new piece of life-saving technology. We'll hear from a search manager on the significance of this rescue and how the new system was used in the mission and why it's being called a game changer. All those stories plus all your late-breaking news coming up at 11:30.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. Well, call it a sign of the times. A woman on Vancouver Island recognized everyone could use a reminder to relax. So she put up a prompt outside her house and dozens more in her workplace's bathroom. Adam explains in tonight's Encore Sawatsky sign-off.
Giselle Relitz doesn't remember where she first saw the sign, but she'll never forget how good it made her feel.
I thought, wow, you know, I've always seen signs that say stay off the grass and don't do this.
But this was different. So, after printing, laminating, and attaching it to a metal stand, Giselle stuck the sign in a nearby boulevard.
I can see people walking by and they kind of double take.
And after they read the sign that encouraged them to keep on the grass, lie on it, roll on it, forget your responsibilities, even have ice cream on it,
literally brought smiles to people's faces.
And then people passing started posting pictures of Giselle's sign in a local community group, including one that was liked by almost 3 times the population of their small municipality.
Created a good conversation as well, which is lovely to see.
But then Giselle woke up one morning to find her sign was missing, prompting her to post a plea for its return.
If somebody needs a copy of it, I'm more than happy to make you a copy for yourself.
Now, before we find out what happened next, you should know Giselle was inspired to post her first sign during a break at work.
And there was this great wall there.
So Giselle committed to fill that then empty corner of the corkboard with positivity.
I started posting in the bathroom because it was like the one place that you could stay for a while and actually look at something.
Over the past 16 years, Giselle says she's posted countless signs in the employee bathroom, ranging from the silly to the insightful, all inspiring kudos from her colleagues.
To bring a little bit of, you know, and laugh, to come out of the bathroom and go, okay, back at it again.
Which brings us back to that stolen sign, which was returned the next day, which Giselle is grateful for, but also hopeful.
Because we all know everyone struggles at different times in their life, and so you just never know who might see that sign that day and just turn them right around.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Esquimalt.
And should we start putting up signs in our bathroom?
I think we should.
So.
We need a little cork bulletin board or something.
Let's ask for cork boards in the bathroom.
Put up some positivity.
Cheer people up.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A peaceful morning in Peachland. Look at that sunrise. Thanks, Lori, for sending this one in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Yeah, always good to get photos from different parts of the province.
Exactly,
Too.
and
Not just
country.
about Greater Vancouver.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've had international ones too,
Exactly.
right? Okay, Kevin's back tonight at 11:30. Thanks for sharing part of your evening with us.
See you later.